Thank you. Let's see if anybody's gonna come on. Okay, if you're here, I see there's some people logging on. If you're here, just quickly drop your name so we can give you a shout out. That's the rules, right? That's the standing rule. So if you're here, just say you're here. So Marco, big up Natty from Chelsea's Best Farm. Blessings. Whoever else is there, just drop your name. Say hi. Let's have a little discussion on this topic that's been, I'm sure, impacting all of us. GG's goat galore. Big up, respect. Um, whoever else is here, you got a Jeffrey from on the YouTube platform. Welcome, big up. And remember to share the link with your friends and associates. I'm sure this is a conversation that everybody would. Faithful child, Kalina, respect, welcome. Long time we don't see you. Hope all is good on your side. Vivian, respect, welcome. Yeah, remember to share the link to your various groups and platform. Alani, what's going on? Um, I got some new members, new visitors tonight. It's great. My friends Alani and her mom Meredith is here. It's gonna be some high pressure on me tonight because these people, I don't think they ever watched me do this before. So that's good. Oh, it's good. She's faithful child is always here. She just keep quiet. But good to know that you're here. Now me can give you a shout out. To all the people who watch quietly and don't say anything, this is a special shout out to you. Y'all know who you are. Special shout out to you because you keep quiet, but at least you're tuned in. Um, so let's try to get it up to about 20 people. Call some people, ring some people, wake up some people, and tell them we're on. Joshua, big up, and let's get into this. Howard, I was wondering what happened to you because I didn't see you, but good to know you're here. Um, okay, so I I I figured it's been a minute since we talk about the cost of the impact the rising cost of feed is having on us. We did this way back. We had a conversation about this back in March, I think, when I realized that every month we order feed, the price was going up. So always a bigger feed bill. So we had a small discussion on it, on how it's impact and what we need to do. I think we had Dr. Denny on to talk about different ways to combat the rising cost of feed. But after Demby and talking to some people and Demby people, oh, Howard said, yeah, that daddy daughter date. That's more important. Hope it was fun. Well, it was much fun for you, as I'm sure it was for your daughter. Connor from Mississauga tuning in. Respect you just down the road from some people here. Peter, I think, is in Mississauga too. Well, anyways, the feed thing, right? Um, it seems like it keeps going up and it keeps going up. And I saw a headline this past week that Hyper is lowering the price on their chicken. So it had my head turning, my brain thinking, okay, so they're lowering the cost of chicken to the retailers. Um, that means there is some savings there, right? Where is it coming from? Because you know how these big companies work. Any savings or any extra cost is being rolled over to the consumer. So I'm like, okay, so that means we're heading in the right direction. And the reason I'm thinking we're heading in the right direction to end up saving some money is because when we were at Denby, we had the VP of Hypro on, and he said to us live on iGoat chat that because the chicken industry in Jamaica is so strong, they leverage the chicken industry to subsidize all the other feed, including goat and cattle, pig, whatever. Maybe not so much pig, 'cause pig is big. But because the chicken industry is so big, they can order large amounts of ingredients, input, grain, corn, whatever they need to use to make the feed. And then that helps. They order for chicken, but because the chicken industry is so strong and they can order large amount, it helps out the other sectors. So when I saw their headline saying they're going to lower feed costs, lower retail price of chicken, means that best dressed chicken to buy best dressed chicken is going to be cheaper. So I'm like, that means something has shifted for them to roll over that savings to the consumer. So I'm thinking now, okay, when are we going to see, if we're ever going to see relief on the feed side? How and when is that going to happen? Now, let's backtrack now to the original topic, is what's the impacts been on us farmers with the higher feed cost for the last year, or since the pandemic, since COVID. Feed costs been going up and up. I can talk about what we do at Cabra Ranch and how the impact it's been on us. It has on us. It's been massive. Basically, it's gone 100% up from when COVID started. The cost of our feed bill has doubled. Our concentrate bill has doubled over the last 2, 3 years. From $1,300 a bag to what is it, 22, 2,300 at this point a bag for feed. It's ridiculous, right? What we've been doing is that we've been tighter on our face feeding and tighter on face feeding, meaning what we always done is if you're in production, you get grain. If you're not in production, maintenance mode, you only get grass, etc. Grass on water, basically, the pasture or cut grass. We've been tighter on that. We've been tighter on, when we pull animals from pasture for breeding, etc. We've been tighter on that. However, because we run such a tight schedule on breeding and our milk program, it's hard for us to get around the hefty feed bill because these animals need the extra input, right? But because we keep tight records, good records, we set benchmarks on the animals that are in production. Like if you're in the milk program and your milk yield drop below a certain level, we have to do the analysis to say, okay, is it worth keeping this goat in the program? Is she giving us the return to justify getting the grain? If she's not, then she's out. And to be honest, we can still get tighter on it, but we don't have real milk animals. So any little drop kind of help us. If we had a real milk goat, then it would have been different. Um, see, Peter says pig feed 650 per bag per animal, I guess, and goat is 450 for growing increase since COVID. Oh, it's up 650%. 650%. It's ridiculous how much the prices have gone up. Now, the VP of Hypro Saturn told us, gave us a breakdown of what happened and why it happened, and how Jamaica got caught in the whole, bottleneck and high rising cost because of people. There's brokers basically who buy up the ingredients and the inputs, hedging that the price will go up and they can make profits on it. So Jamaica is in a place where they don't have buying power, so we're at the mercy of everybody else. Now, what I'm trying to do tonight is to help farmers pinpoint, recognize the areas in their operation that they can save money on concentrate. Because I think it's important to save every dollar you can save. I'll be straight up and honest with you that I don't think you should compromise when it comes to animals that are in production. When I keep saying animals in production, when I say animals in production, I mean about to kid, we're a month out from kidding, goat that has kids on her. If you got a milk program going on, a mother that's lactating, giving you milk, and then your bucks need to be always ready to work. So you want them to be in the best condition. Those in our operation, those are the animals we regard as in product and weaners. Sorry, and weaners, animals that are weaned to go to market. Those are the animals that are we regard as in production. Now, if you don't run a system like that, you have to figure out any system you're running. If the animal is in a maintenance stage where it's early pregnancy after a month pregnancy or something up to 4 months, that's maintenance mode. As long as you're giving the animal quality forage, quality grass, water, and keeping an eye on the animal really good, they don't need the extra concentrate. They don't need the grain. As long as you make sure it's good forage, good combination of grass and shrubs and legumes and tree branches, all those things go love. Whatever is in your area, pinpoint, the high protein forages and make sure they get it in abundance with lots of water. You should be fine. I know, Jamaicans, we love fat goats. We love our goats to look nice and round. But the honest truth is, it's not the best condition for your goat. You know, if you're not familiar with the body score chart at the where you go from 1 to 5, and how to rate the animal or to check what the animal's body condition score is, you should get familiar with it. But on that chart, between 3 and 4 is an ideal where you can feel a little meat on the bone across the back, down the chest, whatever. Get familiar with that chart and how to assess the animals, and you have a better understanding what I'm talking about. You don't want your animal to be up at 4 or higher. You want to be 3.5 in that happy medium. The animal is healthier for breeding. Animal is more energized, and that's a healthier animal. Once the animal start getting 4 and above, then it start getting into obese stage where they basically fat. A lot of show animals, especially in the US, are fat animals. They're fat, and doesn't mean that they're healthy. Now, everything you give your animal to eat, to consume, is based on the animal's body weight. Get familiar with, go seek the information, or go back to our YouTube page and look at one of those videos that we talk about feeding the animal and how you feed the animal correctly. Animal will eat based on their body weight and where they are in production. Animal that's in maintenance mode can consume more. Well, the requirement, nutritional requirement, is lower than an animal that's in production. When an animal gets in the later stage of pregnancy, the reason you have to give them more input, concentrate with it, because with the kids growing inside of them, there's less space for them to consume enough forage to give them the nutrition they need, especially if you don't have great forage. So you have to give them a little extra for them to survive or to thrive and grow healthy kids inside them, right? So that's why we give our goats, start giving them grain concentrate 1 month before they kid. And it comes down to having good records, so you know the timeline. You know when that 1 month is coming, when that birth date is coming. So you can start giving the mother that extra input. Um, Giving the goats will eat or consume to be healthy, regular forage, good forage, whatever it is, 3 to 5% of their body weight in pounds, in weight, right? So if a goat weigh 100 pounds, they want to eat 5 pounds of grass and whatever. And trust me, 5 pounds of grass is a lot. If you actually got to cut it and weigh it, you realize, oh, it's a lot. But remember that when they're consuming this, you can only rate it as fed. So an animal that eats 5 pounds of fresh cut grass versus an animal that eats 5 pounds of good hay, the goat that eat the 5 pounds of good hay will get more out of it than the goat that eat 5 pounds of fresh grass, because the hay is more concentrated and they get more nutrition out of it because there's less water in it. Fresh grass has more water, right? So you got to keep those things in mind when you're feeding your animal. Always rate the feed as fed, not what the paper says. It's as fed. What condition is it in when it's being fed? All right. So maintenance goats, the nutritional needs is less than goats that are in production. When our goats are going into production, meaning about to kid, forget the bucks. The bucks are always on a special diet because we want them to be ready to go when we need them. We're talking about mothers that are about to kid, mothers that has kids on them, females that are in the milking program, and weaners, right? You add that extra input to help them, kids, especially the weaners, to grow faster because you want them to hit market sooner rather than later. Mothers that are about to have kids, because the kids growing inside of them, less space for them to consume as much forage to supply the nutritional need they have. So you got to help them out. And the mothers that have kids on them, or lactating mothers that are actually giving milk, whether to the kid or to you, you have to help them with a little extra for them to produce more milk, right? For them to be energized, feel healthy, getting enough nutrients to produce the milk. The healthier the mother, the more milk you'll get, right? Doesn't matter what kind of goat it is. The milk goat will give you a hell of a lot of milk if they're healthy, but if they're sick, you'll get less milk because the body start conserving that energy and that for themselves if they're starving. So you have to give them that little extra input. Now, how does that relate to the higher cost of feed? If you're tight on your production, if you're tight on your record keeping, on point with your record keeping, then you know that how much you feed the concentrate, weigh it out, consult with your nutritionist on what the animal require based on the stage of production the animal is in. How much pound of that specific concentrate does your lactating mother need, or the mother that's about to have kid, or the weaners? How much actual concentrate do they need? Do not just free hand it, don't eyeball it, weigh it out. Because if you weigh it out as per animal, then you save yourself some money. Your feed will last longer, or if you don't want it to last past a certain point, you can order less feed, so you're not spending too much money or wasting money by people eyeballing it, free pouring it, and the goats eat too much of it when it's not needed, and then you end up with fat goats that you're not getting the return from. You get what I'm saying? So good record keeping, consultation with your nutritionist to know exactly what the animal requires at that stage of production, and measure out the feed. When it comes to forage, if you have endless amount of forage, you just give them, let them eat, But when it comes to concentrate that you have to actually pay your hard-earned money for, you want to make sure you measure it. You want to make sure that you don't waste the feed. So if and I see Peter says here, not all grass is equal. That is 100% facts. Not all grass is equal. However, it doesn't cost a lot to get, if you have a fodder bank, or pastures or whatever. It's not hard to get that your pasture assessed or your fodder bank assessed to know what it's producing. What the percentage of protein on an average it's producing, so you have a better idea of what the animal is consuming when they consume from your pasture or your fodder bank. You have an idea what the nutritional value of that pasture is, or the fodder bank. You know what I mean? And you got to feed it at the right time. You have to make sure, is it 6 weeks? Is it 7 weeks? Is it 8 weeks? When is the optimal time for the animal to go graze in that pasture, or for you to cut it and give it to the animal? You have to be mindful of these things in order to maximize what you have and to save money. You have to be on it, understand what you're dealing with, understand what you're feeding, understand how to feed it, and the impact it has on your animals. You have to be mindful of these things. It's not, the information is there. You just have to put the extra effort to get it. It's one of the first thing we did on Carver Ranch is to get the pastures assessed. I just didn't listen to people. I just didn't listen to advisors and people coming in and say, yo, cut it down and plant some Mombasa and plant some king grass or whatever. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. However, let me find out what's actually there. What is the nutritional value of what's there? What is actually there right now? And we were shocked to find out we're 16 to 17% crude protein in our pasture because the pasture is so diverse. It's not like we have some super pasture, we have some amazing grass and this and that in there now. It's because the pasture diverse with guinea grass, legumes, some waste and some all kinds of things in there, right? And we actually have the goats eat it at the right time. We have them graze 6 weeks. Sometimes it ends up longer, which I really don't want to go longer, but in the spring times and early summer when grass is just like growing, it's hard for us to keep up. Sometimes we cut a whole pasture and feed them because we can't get around the rotation fast enough. So it's very important. It's very, very important that you understand what you're feeding the animals. What are what is in the grass or the grain that they're consuming. Could always consult with the nutritionist. We bring them on the show all the time. We bring Dr. Denny on, we bring Dr. Young on, we bring Khalil on. I don't know if Dr. Young is a nutritionist, but she got a wealth of knowledge. She's been doing this forever. She owns a small ruminants farm with over 400 head of animals. So whatever people like Dr. Young says, to me, I take notice. Whether she say it in passing or she gives solid advice when she make guest appearance on the show, I listen. Chelsea Best Farm say he heard pig feed works wonders. I'm sure pig feed works wonders for pigs. I don't know what it is, what's in it, why I should give it to my goats. I have no idea if pig feed is formulated similar to goat because is pig and goat operate different in their digestive system. So I don't know if I want to tell people, yo, give your goat some pig feed. No, Dr. Denny or somebody who does the formulation have to tell me, oh yeah, the ingredients is similar. I will not tell anybody to give them goat pig feed. I don't know what's in it. I don't know, one, I don't know the effect it will have on the rumen, and two, I don't know if there's any nutritional value the goat pulls from it because they operate different, right? What I do know is that goats can eat cattle feed because it's rumen. It's a ruminant, right? For sure, you can, because we give the dairy feed that we give our goats is designed for dairy cattle. So it's just the formulation is to produce more milk, and because they're ruminant animals, it works, right? But pig, I don't know about that. Mr. McCook is a pig farmer. He may have more to say about that. But I wouldn't on iGoat chat. I would not say to anyone, "Yo, give your goat some pig feed." No, unless a nutritionist or like someone like Dr. Denny that does formulation comes and say, "Yeah, yeah, it's the same thing." Then sure. But if it's the same thing, why we have three different formulations? Ask yourself that. Why wouldn't they just do one and say, "Yo, goat, pig, cow"? I'm just asking for a friend. I don't think they're the same thing. Maybe the pig feed put on a lot of more weight faster on the goat, but it's just a fattener. I have no idea. I have to get, someone like Dr. Denny, Dr. Young, or somebody who knows this stuff to talk about that. I would not officially. I go chat is not telling nobody for feed no pig feed to them goat. Joshua says the smart thing to do is not to feed your goat with pig feed. All right. Um, okay, so here's Joshua talking about those citrus pulp, brain, beer pulp, or beer ops, those things. Those are what they call distillers grain or distillers off byproduct stuff, right? If you're gonna use those things, just like I said about the grass and the grain, find out what the nutritional value is and how much of it what's the ration, how much of it you give, and what do you need to add to it for the animal to get a full ration, right? All over the world, people use these things. All over the world, people use cassava peel, people use sweet potato peel, people use beer ops, people use all kinds of things and formulate a ration to give their animals. However, you got to know what you're giving the animal. You know what I mean? You got to know exactly what it's doing to the animal, what the animal is getting out of it, not just a belly full. You can't, I don't believe that you should just feed the animal to fill them up. You got to give the animal what their body require for the in form of nutritional needs. Like what do they require to be productive in your system, right? See, Mr. Archer, the great Al Archer, bless up boss, says with any feed you would have to make a gradual change. However, buck may develop urinary calculi due to the lack of ammonium chloride. So that's another thing. Why it's important to know what you're feeding your animals. What are you feeding them? Because different ingredients in feed will have certain effects on the animals. You know what I mean? Like bucks will get urinary calculi if there's too much um, grain like corn and all that stuff in it. Females can get bloat. All of them can get bloat if the protein level is too high, etc. The formulation of the feed, the grain, people like Dr. Denny know what's needed and how much of it you should feed the animal to avoid these adverse effects. So when you're doing your own feed, keep that in mind. When you're doing your own formulation, keep that in mind. Because there is a science behind all of this. You know what I mean? There's a way to calculate how much of what goes in order to give the animal what's required and what phase of production they're in, how much of what you give them. Throughout my research and my studies and talking to people about this stuff, if you're operating at a certain level, you have you would have a nutritionist that comes in. If you're doing total ration TMR system, you have him come in and he'll formulate ration for all stages. If you have a TMR machine, you may have in your system 4 or 5, no, maybe 3 4 production phases at one point, and that's 4 different ration that you'll have your nutritionist design for you, and the machine makes it. You have a maintenance mode, you may have lactation, or you may have goats that are in milk production, or you have fatteners going to market. All of those are different nutritional needs. In our system, we don't really have a TMR machine, so we just like based on how much of what we give them, and we consult with nutritionists and okay, do we give 1 pound of grain or 2 pound of grain for the day based on what they're doing in the system. I would love, honestly, love to get into TMR so we can target precision feeding. You know exactly what we're giving who and why and what we're giving. I can't wait to get to that stage. We have a nice little TMR machine and I can formulate according to the stage of production they're in and know, calculate and keep records and know if I'm getting what I need to get out of these animals based on the feed. Right now, I wouldn't do TMR on the herd I have because the herd is so diverse. At this stage, it doesn't really matter because I don't know the conversion rate from that goat to that goat because most of the mothers we bought them. We don't know what their genetic pool is. You know, we can just based on what we have them for 3 years now, 2.5, 3 years, we can say, okay, this is what we're dealing with. But we don't have straight, boar goats. We don't have straight San and we don't have straight Nubians. We don't, yeah, there's all hybrid mixed with certain percentage of native, certain percentage of Boer, certain percentage of Nubians. So we don't know what the established conversion rate should be for any of them because they're all different genetic pool. So until we get to that point where everything is even, everything is there's a San and herd and a Boer herd or Nubian herd, and we can do the numbers and assess the data and see what the conversion rate is for the Saanen when they're lactating or the Nubians when they're lactating versus the Boer, then we know, right? So with all that said, we can't really get into TMR at this point because it won't give me a true reflection. The data would be inconsistent for me to make, precise decisions. Let's put it that way. But yeah, back to the original conversation. How do you save and what is this high feed cost, the impact it's having on us as farmers? The impact is devastating. That's the state of it. No, no holds barred, no back. It's devastating. Now, what do we do? First thing I said was tighten up on your production, record keeping, so you don't waste feed. Second thing you can do is diversify your revenue from the animals, from your operation. Try to sell as many things you can sell from the operation. Even if you have space and you can put in 100 chicken layers or whatever it is, and you know that you can get a discount on the feed if you put in 100 layers and buy a little more feed. That helps the overall thing, just like what Hypro did by using the chicken expense to subsidize the goat and whatever. You can do it as a small farmer. If you have the capacity and the time and the help to have some layers that you can sell chicken eggs, then that can help you with your goat feed. Because then you can order more feed and you may be able to get a discount on the overall feed bill. Because what I realize is not you can get feed, you can get discount on the feed bill, whether it's chicken you buy, goat, pig, whatever. They just want to know what that you're buying a ton of feed or 5 ton of feed. It doesn't have to be goat feed, pig feed is the total. It's a total. So if you say, yo, I should put in 100 layers. But don't do it unless you have somebody to sell the eggs, because when them start laying, them not gonna stop. You can't turn off the layering feature on the chicken. Once they start laying, those eggs are coming. But you have a market for it, it helps. Help to offset. Subsidize. Like how hyper use chicken for subsidize the other sectors, you can do the same, right? Um, that's another option. When I say diversify your operation, if you doing if you have the space to do some crops, you can do that. If you have the space to put in a fodder bank and sell to other farmers some grass or whatever it is, you do that to offset the feed bill. Because at the end of the day, I'm not the only way you can get the feed cheaper is if you're buying volume. But you can do things to offset to help subsidize the cost. And those are the areas you got to think about. You get into milk, goat milk. That's a process. We talked about it. People by now should know what goes into that. Um, and that can help subsidize your feed bill. Because if you have some goats that really give a lot of milk, the milk is there. The milk is there and it'll be produced every day. And you can sell that milk to help with your feed cost. And you could actually start developing a whole new revenue stream from that. So those are the areas I see personally that can really be impactful in offsetting or help deal with the rising cost of the feed, because you can't sit around and wait for it to come down, the price to come back down. We don't know if that's ever gonna happen, and when, if it's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen. But we can plan accordingly, tighten up operations, and help yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, even your breeding system, strictly go like, pay attention and do group breeding, so it lessens how much feed you use overall, because things will be structured. Everything will be structured, so you lessen the amount of feed you use. Because if you know you got 10 goats coming in to have kid, you can isolate those 10 goats and feed them accordingly, versus, oh, I'm just gonna give everybody grain. But if you know who's pregnant, who's not pregnant, you can be, you can help yourself. If you don't have a facility to isolate them, but you can bring in the 10 that's pregnant into the space, feed them first, and then let everybody else in afterwards. There's ways around, there's ways to do it. You don't have to have a massive, um, fancy facility to do these things. You just got to be creative and think outside the box. It may take a little bit of time, but you can do it. If you have one area that all your mothers are in, and your mothers go grazing, but you can identify the 10 that's pregnant and gonna need the extra grain. Bring those 10 in. When they come in, get those 10 into the space first, feed them the grain, let them enjoy the grain for half an hour, whatever, clean it out, whatever, and then let in the rest. But in order to execute that and to see the savings, you have to do it. You have to do the little extra step. You have to. You can't you can't do things in general across the board and expect to save anything. You have to start pinpointing out all the little areas that will help you. All the little areas. You know what I mean? If it means start paying attention to where you cut the grass and when you cut it, just to help your bottom line. Because as I said off the top, our feed bill has doubled in 2 years. Doubled. Remember, Mackie and us was talking about the maintenance ration, which was a more affordable feed. It wasn't for milking or lactating, but it was more for bulks and fattening and maintenance if you do that, if you feed grain to maintenance goats. But the price kept going up till they discontinued it because they couldn't get the ingredients. And from there, it's like this. All the feed bills just keep going up, 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 up. I remember when the maintenance ration was discontinued and we had to go to the regular goat ration, and we kick up a fit and fight or whatever. They're like, okay, yo, we'll give you 1,300 a bag if we order 5 ton. Okay, all right, cool. Order 5 ton. Get some farmers around us to pick up 10 bag, 10 bag, whatever, helping out farmers, whatever. And every time from there, it just keep going up. Now it's at 22, 2,300 a bag, whatever it is. I don't even pay attention anymore. Trudy does, because she cries every time the bill comes. Um, so I don't know what we can do to influence the feed mills to bring it down more than just keep talking about it, talk to our reps, let them know that where we're at and the expense, how expensive it is to operate, and let them know that we need the help. We were on iGoat chat, the VP of Hyper gave us his word that he will do whatever is in his power to help to bring the feed costs down. That's their next goal. With the headline I saw this week with the chicken, I'm like, okay, that means something should come down the pipeline, whether it's in a hold on hike for a long period of time or a reduction. Something's got to happen. If they see where they can save the consumer and cost of chicken at a retail level, then that means savings being met somewhere in the pipeline. And based on the fact that chicken is subsidizing goat and everything, then hopefully we see it on our end. Um, Besides that, all I can implore people to do is be diligent, be tight on your production, do not overextend yourself when it comes to stocking how many animals you have. Oh, one more thing you should do, which we're guilty of doing, we should be doing, is identifying animals in your system that ain't doing nothing, that are just there. Keeping good records will be able to tell you who they are and how productive they are, and if they're giving you the returns that you need for them to stick around. We need to do a big culling thing in the near future. We've been talking about it all summer, and we're gonna do it. I can identify 10 animals. Off the top of my head, I can identify 10 animals in our herd that I would gone tomorrow. Based on what we're doing at the farm, based on what we require from our animals, I know, personally know, can visualize 10 of them that needs to go right now. And we're going to do it because they're not giving us the return that's needed. And I'm sure there's more. I'm sure if we when I dig into the numbers, into the data over the last 2 years, breeding records, kidding records, weaning records. Well, the kidding record are not gonna tell me how many kids each mother wean over the period of time and their weaning weight, etc. And maybe the bottom 15 or 20 is gone. No joke. Yeah. They're either making us money or costing us money. And the ones that are costing us money gotta go. They gotta get out of it. Gotta get out of the system. And because, as y'all know, we're in the business of milk, I have to start thinking about all these goods that are there that not giving us the return, because they can be having the luxury of just, you know, walking nice pastures and eat, come in, get a nice place for sleep, and don't give me what we need for them to be there. Even, to be honest, we have couple goats, native goats that are three droppers. No lie, they're real serious three droppers every single time. The guys who are with me for a long time know I always talk about this one native goat that's a terrorist. She's like she's miserable and angry all the time when she has kids. She always got three kids, always a three dropper. But her kids do not grow at the same rate as everybody else. It's always Corey. Her genetic genes are so strong. Doesn't matter which buck I put on her, her kids are always like her. So she's on top. She's on the list to go. I may sell her because people just love, they love tree dropper, and then she's a proven tree dropper. Um, you know, so if somebody wants her, she may be on the market. You know, but she's not doing what I want her to do. She's not giving me the results I want. Three dropper, and the three kids don't grow as fast, and she's not a high milk producer, and she's aggressive when she has kids. She ain't working in the system anymore. She's one that's got to go. So I'm telling us family, we having a discussion here. Do the same. Do the same for your operation. No idlers. You know what I mean? No, don't have no goat around you that ain't producing and keep, what you call it, earning their keep. They're not earning their keep. They gotta go. Get out of there. Yes. No, it's not Madix. It's not Madix. Madix is always producing. Madix is crazy. It's another native aggressive. I'm gonna find a video, and I think I posted a video one time where the goats are at the trough and she walks up and the goats them just take with themselves and she take over the whole trough. I gotta find that video and repost it. She's just, when she has kids, she's aggressive, but she doesn't. For people who want go to have three kids all the time, she's perfect for you. Every time she has three kids, them little bit, but she has three kids. So, um, What else? Let me rack my brain, see if there's any other input I can give, any other suggestions I can give. And my folks, I'm telling you this stuff because it's the stuff we do or intend to do. The people here that I talk to on a regular basis, they know how my brain works when it comes to these things. I talk about these things over and over, and I confess to my friends and them say, yo, dude, I screwed up, or we hold on too long to this, or wanted to change this, but couldn't get the guts to change it, but no, we're gonna have to change it. And the good thing about the friends that we have, they'll put me in my place and back me up nonetheless, but they also understand where you're coming from, where you don't want to give up on a goat, or you don't want to let go of a goat, or you don't want to do this, or you don't want to do that. But long term, and for the benefit of the business, you have to make the tough decision. Have to make the tough decision and let go. Check your ego and just go. And I'm telling you guys the same thing, because if you want your little business to grow, you have to get rid of the people, the goats, them, and even people who ain't bringing value to it. And I talk about this before. I don't know if I mentioned this on iGoat chat, where I got goats in the milk system. 3 goats should be giving me what 1 goat should give me. It's embarrassing. Every time I ask and look at the milk sheet, and I'm like, yo, this is not right. It's embarrassing because they're using up space, they're using up resources. I'd rather have 50 good milking goat than 100 of what I got right now. Seriously, even 40 of what I got right now. That's for a whole different conversation, mind you. But you get what I'm saying. And the same goes for if you're in meat. Like, there's no reason to have these native goats that are not giving you the gains, the daily gains for you to meet market in a timely manner. We all love native goat, but honestly, and really and truly, unless you have 500 acre, you can let them go and go catch 50 every week or every month when you want to go to market. Unless you have that going on, if you're in a structured system where you have 500 goats, 200 goats, they have to be meat producing goats. They can't be natives that take 2 years to get to market. It doesn't make sense. That's like using common fowl for in a layer business. Seriously. How you gonna use common fowl that run around your yard and say, yo, you're gonna supply a supermarket with egg because you have 300 common fowl? Doesn't matter where you put them. If you put them in, in a cube or whatever it is, they're still not gonna give you the production that the chicken that's designed for laying just eggs and not breeding and things will give you. It's just real talk. Don't make no sense. Here's Peter, him do the numbers. He's straight up into meat. He's been doing the numbers and doing the assessment for a while now. 33% meat to bone ratio on local goat. It should be 48 to 50%, 53%. Really. Need more meat to bone on your animals to be in the meat business. You guys know by now when I go chat, I keep it real. I have no reservations in telling you guys how I see it. Sometimes it's against the grain, sometimes it's dead on. But common goat is for hobby. Native goat is for hobby farmers. No joke. It's for hobby farmers. Like when I was a kid, and my grandmother have a bunch of them, and every holiday, every birthday, we kill one. And when time to go back to school, she sell two to her brother and buy a uniform and them thing. It has its place in the goat sector, but not on a commercial level. Who is Julie Miller? Julie, you want to be on the show. um, well, hit us up. Julie just posted the number. Hit us up, send us a WhatsApp message, and let's find out. There's a number. There's a number, Julie. Send us a WhatsApp message, and let's talk about you coming on the show and what is your area of expertise or what you'd like to discuss. Anybody can come on the show, but just remember, so when you come on the show, you gotta bring value to the people. You gotta bring something that the people will learn from, and the people can take something positive away from it. Just remember. So hit us up. Um, let's uh, let's feature some comments here. All the graded books that are being passed around are supposed to be curry. Don't be mad. I ain't mad at you, Wilfred. I ain't mad at you, bro. I ain't mad. I feel the same way. And I am guilty of selling. We're all guilty of selling some graded books. Peter McCook know this because I say to him all the time. Some graded books that I'm selling to people for their newcomers and they're starting them thing, and I'm selling it to them, and I tell people all the time, I'm like, yo, this buck is a perfect meat goat because none of these bucks I know by the time they get to 6 months they'll be hitting 80 pounds. I see it. You know what I mean? I win a buck at 3 months, 3.5 months, and he's 50 pounds, 52 pounds at 3 months, 3.5 months. So I know in a proper system, he stayed in my system, he's getting to 80 pounds at 6 months. Easy. So I know these animals are really good for meat, and they have the meat to bone ratio because they're graded. You know, the hybrid vigor is there. You know, I've had this conversation before on this chat, and I remember Darren said, "Oh, yo, you can't just do that because to some new farmer, young farmer, that's an amazing buck." But the fact still remains, it doesn't change the fact that that goat is good for meat. It doesn't change the fact that that goat is prime meat goat. It's the meat to bone ratio is good, the growth is good, so you can turn it over faster. Everything about these graded bucks that we're selling people to start them farm is really the ideal meat goat. We call them, like, what I mean, reggae ram, dancehall ram, whatever we want to call them. I feel like we need to start brand them like not just curry ram, but like dancehall ram or Jamaican reggae ram, whatever it is, to identify them. That's where them belong. That's what they're designed for. Julius, same of a buck that's 85 pounds at 3 months. And we make out of. Seriously? We want to see that buck. Is that a graded buck, Julie? Yes, Santino. All goats can end up in the pot. We know that. We've done the full blood and purebred burgers and all them things. We know that. But let's talk business and talk commercially. You know what I mean? The ideal situation in Jamaica is We do great have these graded animals that are the growth rate is good, the meat to bone ratio is good. We're on to something. We're on to something. It's working. In North America, here in North America, the ideal weight for goats to go to market 65 pounds. 65 pounds. And I know farmers that it takes them 5, 6 months to get the animal to 65 pounds in North America. So think about that for a minute. Think about that. One second, guys. Okay, Julie may not be Julie. What we call graded animals is a mix, whether they're mixed with native, full blood, or purebred animal and breed it up. Like, the mother may be native, or yeah, most likely the mother started as native, and then you have a full blood or purebred buck on that mother, and then the F1, F2, whatever it goes up, we call them graded animals. So that hybrid vigor in Jamaica, from especially if you cross like a boer on a native, and then you put a Nubian on the offspring of that native, and then put back a boer on that, then you get this ideal cross, this ideal hybrid, where an animal is producing good enough milk to support the kids, but also has the meat to bone ratio on it on the animal, and that's like the perfect animal for the curry pot. That's what we're talking about, Julie. So, Julie, we are happy to have you on to talk about this stuff. And Julie says her animals are all full blood boar. So we will definitely reach out, Julie, so we can talk about, um, especially if you're a breeder, Julie, and I take it you're from the U.S. You're not Jamaican. We'll get your perspective on the breeding system, breeding up, the hybrid vigor, all of that. We can get your take on it, because that's what we're all about here at on iGoat Chat, is to bring new ideas, different perspective, different practices from around the world to our little community and share information. So we'll gladly reach out to you, and you can be a guest on our show. The fact that you're here with us and tuning in and participating, we welcome you, and this is a platform you can come on whenever you want to. She says she export goats to Jamaica. I would assume, I'm not jumping to conclusion, but I assume Julie is the Julie that sent 28 goats to Jamaica early this year. Give us a thumbs up, Julie, if that's you. Julie, give us a thumbs up if the 28 goats came. Okay, there we go. So Julie is the exporter of the 28 goats that came to Jamaica. So we're gonna bring Julie on, gonna schedule her and bring her on, and she can tell us, not only she can tell us her breeding practices, but she can tell us her experience with dealing with the Jamaican bureaucracy of getting the animals to Jamaica. because we want to normalize and standardize that process. And the more people that come on and tell us if they had a great experience doing it or where they see improvement can be made, then we can get there. We can make this a standard process so everybody can do it. We can definitely do that. I think we need to normalize, standardize the system so just about anybody with them pocket full of money, doesn't have to be full, but people can pool their resources and make it happen. So welcome, Julie, and thanks for being a part of our little iGoat chat family. Um, I'm sure TJ Terrence will tell you, that this is what we do every Saturday, 7 o'clock Jamaican time, 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock Eastern time, depends on where we are, what time of the year we're at. But we come and we discuss everything, how it affects our little areas of small ruminants, and specifically, we kind of locally mostly talk about Jamaica operations, but we happy to take inputs and suggestions and discussions from around the world, right? Well, Mario, I say pocket full of money because you know how the thing go. Jamaican dollars a week. So we have to have, you know, we have to have a pocket full of Jamaican dollars to make it work, you know. But that's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to be keep it light and funny. But Julie, thanks for participating, and your help is welcome. And thanks for your contribution to Jamaica small ruminants sector in any way you can and that you have done. You already made your contribution by going through the process of exporting to Jamaica, so we appreciate that. Um, Maria's more like box of money. Yeah, we need a trailer with the money for deal with it. Um, yeah. So back to the original discussion, so I don't go off on some other things. Um, yeah, we got to be diligent and figure out how we can save on the cost of extra inputs when it comes to grain or anything else. Really, we got to be diligent. Good record keeping. Stay on track, stay focused, and we can definitely help ourselves save money. You know what I mean? It's been really and truly, it's been like a crazy few weeks since Demby, and I have a lot on my mind, a lot bubbling in my head, a lot of things that irks me, but over the last few weeks, but I'm just gonna keep focused on trying to move our business forward and help farmers do the same, and don't let those little things get in the way, because that the real talk is that sometimes it gets hard. It gets really hard to stay focused, and don't let people derail your focus. It's hard, but it is what it is. It is what it is, and we're keeping it moving. And any way we can help farmers, we're gonna try to do that. And you can count on iGo Chat to bring you the real thing and tell you the truth and dig deep and bring you guys any information we have that can help you. We'll bring it to you. One thing I gotta give you guys a heads up on. Um, we had a conversation a while back with David Carwell from B&D Genetics, and I promise you guys that we're gonna work with him to try to get him to come to Jamaica to do the laparoscopic procedure and maybe do some training. And I think we're seeing some headway on that. So I'll keep you guys posted. And for who's not aware of this, David Carwell is the owner of B&D Genetics. Most of the semen on Nutrimix catalog comes from B&D Genetics, and he practices laparoscopic AI procedure with a 70% success rate, which would do wonders for our AI program in Jamaica. I'm sure Julie is aware of David if she's still here. So we're trying to get him to come to Jamaica, do some procedures, and do some training. So once we can get that off the ground and the ball's moving in the right direction, I will keep you posted. Yeah, so Julie knows David, and David does great work, and I'm definitely trying to make that happen. And just to put it in perspective, if we can get David to come to Jamaica, do some training, do some procedures, it would be a big boost for the sector. It will be a big boost for the sector because we're talking about a whole different technique with a higher success rate. We're not talking about, Dr. Young and them are doing the best they can. But right now, if we want to really move the needle forward, we got to start adapting and practicing new techniques, utilizing new technology. Don't be scared to step out there and take the risk. You will not get ahead if you're not prepared to take some risks. Who will be the training be for? The training will be for the people who are willing to take the training or maybe contribute to the cost of getting him down there to do the training. It's open. Here lies the problem of who wants to participate and who wants to coordinate and collaborate to make it happen. That's not my interest. My interest is to get the gentleman down there and to get some training done and some procedures done and try to do what I need to do to move the needle forward. That is my objective. Okay. Well, Julie, I understand natural breeding is the best, but you can't do natural breeding with the same genetics over and over. We can't do, we don't have access to improved genetics in abundance when it comes to live animals. So we gotta do what we gotta do with AI. Trust me, if the live animal situation was standardized and all of that, then it would be easy to just say, oh, we need some new bucks, we just go import them. So if I make this happen, or when we make it happen, because no, if we're gonna make it happen with David, what our objective is get as many vets as possible in the training and record it, right? And the relationship with David will be a long-term thing that he can do updates or whatever is needed. But we're trying to establish a long-standing relationship with David that we can deal with improved genetics, importation, and training and all that stuff. So we move the sector forward consistently. See, Julie's already letting y'all know how challenging it is to get animals to Jamaica. Hopefully, Julie, we get it together and the policy and protocols are standardized and we everybody know what's needed, what's required, and it's done. And me, you, everybody can just go work off one standard procedure. Marius, not a veterinarian program. It's a Cabra Ranch initiative. I don't know if it's a program. This is a Cabra Ranch initiative. That's something we're trying to do. With the help of you guys as part of our family, give you some strong energy, you know, could put us on your prayer list or whatever you do, and hopefully we can get this done. Because I think we need it. I think we really need to improve on our AI success rate, and we'll do whatever we can do to get it done. We're spending our own money and resources to do these research and travel and all this stuff. We're doing this ourselves and letting people know. Mind you, we could do this for a business and just keep it to ourselves. Real talk. We could be doing this, spending our money, travel, go meet with people, do these trainings, do these symposiums, don't tell nobody nothing, and just do what we need to do to better our business. But we, as Cabranch, commit to say, yo, whatever we learn, we're going to share it with the people who wants to know, so we can drag and pull a whole group of people with we and move forward. That is our objective. So whatever we do, whatever we learn that help us, or even if we do try something that in our work, may come telling us, say, yo, no, try that. If we not do what we like, how we run things and how we do things, don't try that kind of work. It's the same way. If something positive that we're working on is going to happen, we're going to tell you, right? So I brought him on. I made it very clear to everybody that we're going to try to do this, and I'll let you guys know right now we're actively trying to make it happen. We are actively trying to make it happen. All right. Before I go, any other questions or any hot topic? Yo, Mario, this is what we do, man. This is iGoat chat, Cabra Ranch. This is what we do from beginning. This is what we're about. Sharing. We think sharing is caring. So if we share, even if 5 people benefit from it, it's a step forward. It's better than none. Seriously. You know what I mean? Just remember this, that whole thing is, there's farmers who can afford to do things on their own and keep doing things and getting ahead and whatever. But I think we need numbers. We need numbers, as in more active farmers doing the same thing going forward, not just 1 and 2 people. In order to have a serious sector, you need the numbers. You need enough successful farmers in the space in order for us to be taken serious. In order for us to make an impact, we need enough, or a lot of successful operations. We don't need 3 or 4 big successful farmers. We need a few of them that have buying power, decision that can influence decisions, and all of that in order to move the sector forward. Okay, so that's our objective. And some may fall by the wayside, some people are going to come along. All we need is to keep sharing, showing people that we care, and we're not stop. Remember, so we're never supposed to die until this time. Them they tell us that we're gonna fail. But we gotta build, nobody can break it down. For the foreigners who don't understand. With God by your side, all things possible. Remember that. Okay. Any other questions or any hot topic that I should table for another day? Let me know. I'm calling it a night. And you guys may not see the beautiful Trudy in the background, but I'm sure you guys see her comments and her production skills in the back, posting things on the screen. But she's there, And truly, you want to tell the people hello. Every time to get through the on screen, I have to talk her up, folks. You guys need to start like sending her messages telling her that it's her turn to get on screen. Okay? Please do that for me. Expound on what, Hanif? What you want me to expound on? Hanif, tell me what you want me to expound on. I'll do a quick 1.5 minute explanation on what it is you're asking for. I don't want you to miss out on anything. And if you can, drop and disappear in a bridging because I'm going to shut it down. Oh, Hanif. Okay, so I'll tell you quickly. We had a gentleman from B&D Genetics on the show, on iGoat Chat. And on the show, I asked him if he's willing to come to Jamaica to train vets on his laparoscopic procedure for AI. He said he would. So I'm letting everybody know that I'm actively trying to make that happen. We're currently in conversation with him, try to get him, schedule him to come to Jamaica and figure out how we're going to make it happen. And I said, I'll keep you guys posted. That's all there is to that. There's there's no major development more than the conversation is ongoing. We're closer than we were before because now we have parameters of what it will take to get him to Jamaica. So we're closer than we were before. So we just have to keep moving, keep the conversation going, and start planning. And another thing that may connect to him coming to Jamaica is that if you guys watch, if you haven't watched the VP appearance on iGo Chat from Demby, you should go watch it because on that iGo Chat, he disclosed that Hypro is getting semen directly from Australia. So everybody know that we have a relationship with Hypro. So if the gentleman's gonna come, if David's gonna come to Jamaica, I want him to come to Jamaica, really ideally come to Jamaica after that semen gets there. So then we can have a higher success rate with that semen that's fresh from South Africa. No, not South Africa, Australia. So just so you know. All right. And I'm gonna follow up with Hypro to find out when their semen touch Jamrock because he said it publicly. So that means we can ask and give a public update, right? To tell iGoat people you're doing this, then you need to tell iGoat people when it happens. So me see it. Bless up the Colonel. Respect, sir. Um, Publicly thank you for participate. I think that's the highest ranking executive we've had on iGoat Chat from a Jamaica business perspective. He came and talk and tell us what he's doing, how he feels about the small ruminants and goat business. So we have to appreciate it. Enough respect. All right, that's it for the night. An hour and a half of gabbing. And I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for participating. And as usual, we will definitely keep you guys posted on everything. And enough respect to each and every one. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Guidance and protection. We're out. See you next week.